The Half Dome is a famous hiking spot in Yosemite, California. Every year the team at Yosemite get at least 100 calls from people asking for help. Most of the times it's people who are dehydrated, out of shape, or ill, and all of those conditions can make this hike even more difficult than what it already is. The hike requires you to pass through a lot of waterfalls in which you can easily slip and fall to your death. Once you approach the last 100 meters of the hike, you will find a series of cables that will lead you through the steep and vertical summit. People at the park say that this is the spot where most fatalities happen, and for that reason they recommend people to have proper shoes and gloves, and to take their time to make it to the top. Once you see beyond those dangers, the Half Dome surely does look like a very impressive place to go for a hike. In Hays County, just an hour southwest of Austin. The swimming hole is attractive to swimmers for the simple fact that it's so clear that you can see its bottom. It's dangerous, but not because of its waters. In fact, there's nothing wrong with going in for a quick dip and refreshing yourself after a long day under the sun. But what makes this place dangerous is its system of underwater caves and tunnels where a lot of people have gone missing. Since the water is so clear, you can spot the entrance to these passages without any real problems. But once you're in total darkness. But even though it is a dangerous spot, that hasn't stopped some people from making a lifestyle out of it. This place has proven to be the ultimate spot for free divers and scuba divers in the region to come and test their skills. Back in 2015, Diego Adami, a free diver from San Antonio, lost his flipper while exploring one of those underwater caves. He had to remove his weight belt just so he could go back to the surface before he ran out of air. He literally saw his life before his eyes, but he did make it out alive. There have been at least 9 deaths at this spot. 2 of them happened in 1979, and it took 2 years for people to find one of those bodies. The other one didn't come out until the year 2000, and that's 21 years later. That shows you just how bad it can be to get lost in those caves, so make sure you know what you're doing. The island of Honshu in Japan. It was considered the most severe nuclear disaster since Chernobyl over in the 80s, which I'm sure you learned about through the famous TV series that just came out. The Fukushima disaster started right after Japan was hit with an earthquake and a tsunami. There were explosions and multiple damages that resulted in radioactive contamination. The current high levels of radiation in the area make it one of the most dangerous places to visit. Chris Busby, a professor from the University of Ulst, claims that Fukushima's disaster was worse than the one over in Chernobyl. That disaster back in the 80s went up in one go, and it was horrifyingly scary, but it was fast. Meanwhile, according to Busby, Fukushima is still boiling its radionuclides all over Japan. Busby is also known to be an alarmist and claimed that the incident was going to claim the lives of 1 million people, but the number of deaths is low so far, and people from the Japanese government have been doing their best to educate their population and prevent them from any damage that the radiation may cause to their lives. So very cool places to go for a swim. Well, except for the aforementioned Salt Lake from before, but I digress. Some of them, however, are better left untouched. That is the case of Lake Nyos on the northwest side of Cameroon. This body of water is right on top of an area known for its volcanic activity, which causes a leak of carbon dioxide from underground. Every now and then, this leaking turns into what is called limnic eruptions, which is when the carbon dioxide bursts out all the way from the bottom of the lake up to the surface, in the form of a toxic cloud. The cloud lacks oxygen and sucks the life out of any living being around. Back in the 1980s, 2 eruptions ended the lives of more than 1,500 people and 3,000 animals. Now you know that even the most peaceful bodies of water can be dangerous when they're in such scary